got one of the best name presses out there, Black Freighter Press. It's it's a good start. Coming up with the name, that was kind of hard part. I got the idea El Martillo Press because it's it's strong, and martillo means a hammer, and that was a really strong name. But part of it's psychologically. I lived in Texas for a couple of years, and there was this accident. Insurance lawyer named Jim Adler. Like, I'm Jim Adler, the Texas Hammer. I'll fight for you. Right? And some commercials like, soy Jim Adler, El Martillo. And so El Martillo stuck in my mind. It's very strong, right? And so, hammer and sickle. Yeah, right. So, but yeah, the hammer and sickle is the obvious symbology, but but the phrase Martillo stuck in my head. As far as El Martillo is concerned, I mean, I can tell my story. El Martillo. Me and David Romero, we had created a whole kind of touring troupe around Flower Song Press, and there were a number of people we wanted to publish, and so we ended up kind of publishing a lot of these titles, but we wanted to publish them 5 at a time, so that we would have an inbuilt poetry troupe, and so they get published all at the same time, and they're all essentially supporting each other. So one of them is poet laureate Pomona. Cesar K. Avalar, another one is a professor at Santa Ana College. Another one, is Margaret Lisa Garcia, who's also a journalist. So, we have someone who can write reviews, we have someone who can sign books, and we have someone who's poet laureate of a city. So, you get into the library. So, we strategically went out of a way to make sure that everything we do stays, that we don't go into the right. So, there's a little bit of strategizing, but everyone we publish, we really believe in their work, and it's very strong working class kind of thing. At El Martillo, we really wanted to publish authors who have at one point in life pushed a broom or worked a cash register at some point in time, had some real working experience. But who also happen to be some of who we feel like the best writers anywhere. So we get their work all over the world.
Right on. I think the objective on the outset for Black Freighter Press was to, in our small way, kind of capture just a little bit of the cultural means of production or means of cultural production, and also, kind of in a way. Along the lines of a Cabral equation, transform culture to one that's a little bit or a lot more conducive to resistance, as opposed to this kind of way we relate to ourselves in reality, which is conducive to oppression. Along the way, though, found that it's not enough. And the kind of the rightward march, the neo-Confederate tendency, this kind of wave is moving so aggressively, and capitalism, as it operates in permanent crisis, and sits us down in this kind of climate catastrophe. It's kind of like art, and so this is almost an answer to the original question. Art cannot keep pace, or poetry cannot keep pace with the historical task if it's not tied to unapologetic, unadulterated political organizing. And even when you look at kind of the groovy cultural efforts of the past, they were tied to larger waves of organizing. Now, that's not to say that we hang up our pens or microphones, anything like that. Fun fact, Sonia Sanchez was at San Francisco State, was teaching at San Francisco State the year before the strike, So we march along, we play our part. But if I were to, if I were to evangelize, or let me put it another way. So just when it's groovy to be me, a white supremacist kills my cousin in St. Paul, Minnesota, and gets convicted 2 years later of murder in the second degree, and the judge sentences him to 360 days. Right? Or just when it's cool to be me or groovy to be me or groovy to say these poems, they put kids in cages, and on and on and on. And there's no sky in California, there's no sky in New York, So as much as I would love to stay in my comfort zone, as much as I would love to stay with, what feels like the edge of my potential as a human being, I can never escape the mandate, or to do kind of like everything necessary along lines of organizing. And selfishly, this also actually reinforces craft. Because you can't really write political poems if you're not in the middle of a real political crisis. So I guess I'm just a little shade to the grumpier left. I'm just a little grumpier than my brother today, but really, yeah, really though, we're saying the same thing. I'm just making sure that that we are all aware. We can't really be anything except revolutionaries at this point. Now, all of our different aptitudes and skills and silos actually have to be made super secondary to, or again, in order to be appropriate to the historical task, because it will be over any day now. And I know sometimes we can pan out to this meta kind of like, almost a meta zen, like, hey, I do what I do by, with my part of the struggle, and let it go. It might not see revolution in my lifetime, or, or let's not drive ourselves crazy and all of this type of thing. But, speaking on behalf of a murdered family member, a lot of people die unnecessarily at the hands of this system when we sit things out. And so I would just, I would, and with my relaxed tone, I would just actually like evangelize for more political urgency. That
Hi, I'm Bella DeSoto, and I so appreciate being here and hearing your argument for today's life, and I appreciate where you're coming from, both of you. You're both coming from different sides, but you are joined together from your experiences. And that gives us a very good wide bird's eye of what's going on. Earlier I said to both of you that the spoken word, I believe, is the most important part of any revolution, and that, like myself, I come in secondary for whatever action or sport I want to engage with. But my question is, or I should not put it in a question, but I'm acknowledging what you're saying, because you're saying that you cannot write any of this. You cannot have this kind of expression without the oppression that you are living, that you're experiencing. So I'm going to ask you a real stupid question. How long does it take, Matt, for one poem? I don't want to call it a poem, speak your word, spoken life, and you, my friend, how long did it take? Because yours was continuous, and you were in a courtroom, and you were in a play. That's what I understood. And until you ended it, you said to the judge, so there you go, fuck you.
Okay, man, I hate to be the bearer of unimpressive news, but actually all of those poems are in a book, unspoken. And second, I was just, that was probably 6 poems. I just didn't stop.
Yeah.
Dirty trick. Dirty trick. No, I know that.
Because it sounded like a scene to me.
Now, but what might be some actionable intel is that really like writing and so-called performing are really 2 different meditations. So and kind of exist in 2 different universes. Though there are some strategies that apply to both, especially when it comes to like short-circuiting self-absorption as you move along. Ultimately, the page gets its due. And then, like 1,000 poems later, I will pick poems that feel more communal to put in my mind. But even then, like, the walk with them on a microphone is really, it's actually really like a lot more internal. It's about 95.6% internal. So it's not really about kind of like, oh, let me go and have an effect on people. It's just like, okay, what kind of effect am I having on myself? And then you with that kind of lathered up, then you kind of create almost mirroring, what is it, like gravity is actually dense and the fabric of space-time goes by the bed. So similarly, when you get into a good zone, it puts a little dent in the room that then people slide your way or stay within the orbit of, the idea and energy. But the trick is really just a never-ending quest actually so it's kind of counterintuitive. So I say like it's internal, but at the same time we're having an effect on myself, but the effect I want to have is I want to dissolve my personal territory, or at least dissolve my quest for personal territory, because in that I get access to everyone else's territory. You know what I mean? Both on the page and on a microphone.
I feel, well, first, I just want to say something about, you mentioned something about organizing. You couldn't do this if you didn't organize, if you weren't actually involved in material struggle. I know that, Tongo, he was, part of a big sit-in there in Oakland, or in Oakland, right? In Oakland, and he's involved in many political actions. I'm always trying to get out of doing that. I'm like, I'm just gonna focus my arms to do this. I always say that, and it never happens. I'm a member of the Association of Us Educators. I'm a member of the Rasa Unida Party. I'm a member of all these different things. I got the show on Wednesday morning. We bring on people who are organizing in the community. It's kind of, it's who you are, and if you go a few days without doing something productive towards it, you start feeling awful. I'm always saying that I'm just gonna do that. And if I do that, then this will happen. But the art is so tied to it. I'm always back to it. But I'm not the best organizer, so I feel like I know what I'm good at. So I got a lot of admiration for Eric and Channing, who can actually organize and be organizers, and that's what they do. Because I'm the worst. I'm anytime I'm in charge of some committee, I'm you get one job, and it was bring chairs, and the chairs aren't here, and I just do not understand how you could. So I'm just the worst. I'm the worst. So I'm good at doing little speeches. I'm good at writing poems, and I'm good at what I'm good at, and I kind of try to stick to that. Although I get dragged into being the social media coordinator. I'm like, what makes you think I'd be good at social media coordination? So that's the story of my life. In terms of that. But as far as writing is concerned, I write in like a 3-act structure. So in the beginning, I come with a brainstorm model, which has a topic, details, and point on one side. And the other side, Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3. So I figure out what is my topic, what are the details I need to get in there, what am I trying to say about this topic. On the other side, I look at, well, what I've said in the beginning, what I've said in the middle, what I've said in the end. Typically, it'll start off with a world build. In the middle, you're going to have the conflict enhance, and then by the end, you end up resolving the problems with elements of the world build. Then after that, I break into a 4-square part with 1, 2A, 2B, and 3. And so in 1, you introduce the hero. In 2A, you introduce the villain. In 2B, the villain is winning. And in 3, the hero wins. Pretty simple stuff. So very like hero.
I've seen this. This is not mine. This is. I've seen this process.
Yeah. And after that, I have a word or phrase arc, and I edit it back in to have one word that comes back. So in the poem Pilgrim, honest Indians and Christian pilgrims and a nation of immigrants, all vulnerable. By the end, who you calling immigrant? Pilgrim, right? And so in La Reina, like here is home, La Reina. Very sad, very vulnerable. By the end, all hail La Reina, the ones that featured Queen. Then gave me more complicated. The first poem I did, we talked about hands, right? So it starts off like in a small town where that boy had hands. And then it says like, goes on to talk about in his fists live myth, legend, tradition, the ancient. And then it says like, he talks to his father, who's dead, see how far your hands could have carried you. By the end, that boy had style, that boy had hands. So the word hands appears several times, and each time the word hands appears, it is not only driving forward the story, but the meaning has changed. So I'm taking you on an emotional journey, I'm taking you on just a story journey, and I'm taking you on a journey of ideas, right, all simultaneously. And I work really hard on this shit.
So, final words or something and to wrap up.
John?
Yeah, I just want to say, to just make the case over and over again how you are revolutionary and your work, Oakland and Black Lives for Peace and all being able to relate to the struggle of working class and the Black national liberation, and then with Matt saying, I had a stroke 2 months ago, and I have trouble keeping up with words sometimes. I could understand everything you all were saying. It's fast and whatever, but you talk the language of people, and it's revolutionary. And Matt been with helping us with the Harry Tubman Center, anti-war struggle, police struggles, everything. Always been there, helping us be more relevant to the struggle. I really thank that. And what your speech about Columbus, and others is it's breaking. We have to keep reminding people of these enemies of history, and it's coming back. There are tendencies right now that are saying that Columbus was really good for the Americas. He brought things. Right. They're saying that about Monroe Doctrine. They're saying that the Monroe Doctrine it was a progressive thing because with all these crazy logic. But anyway, it's great to hear and the relevance of these struggles. So I'm so glad I hear it, and I wish I could steal the method of this stuff in my writing.
Well, thank you, John, and you say I helped you guys. You opened your doors to me and to share my work there. So I mean, I appreciate both of you so much, and I do it because it's the right thing to do, and you do it because it's the right thing to do, and I'm going to keep doing it. So I appreciate both of you so much. So, mutual. Oh, final thoughts. So earlier, Michael, you asked about like some, in addition, what's the relationship with to each other's work, I guess. So I mean, I would just say that many years ago, I got a chance to read at the San Francisco International Poetry Festival I got to read on the final night. It was just me and Mary Baraka, and that was one of the biggest honors of any event. And 20 years from now, I will tell people about that, and I will also tell people about the time in Los Angeles, California, where I got a chance to read with Tongo tomorrow. So that's how I feel about Tongo. He's a living legend, and his legend is growing every day. And I had the opportunity of reading with him many years ago in a place that you know, if he does his job and I do mine, it'll become a very historic reading. Yeah, and you know, I've gotten a lot of praise over the years when compared to this and compared to that, and interviews and stuff like that. But one of the biggest like pieces of like praise or compliments ever meant anything to me was one day when I was reading in San Francisco, and we were gonna get to eat afterwards, and he just turned to me and said, "Yeah, you know, man, I respect the hell out of you," and it was just a passing comment, and I don't even know how much that meant to me because I have tremendous amounts of nothing but all respect and hope for him. So this reading's meant a lot to me. Thank you to everyone who made it possible, but mostly thank you for coming down and sharing this time with me.
That's the final word right there, brother. None of them words to be said, man. This my main comrade right here, and you know, it's man, you know, you don't get too many, you know, on this little journey, man. You don't get too many like twins, you know. And so it's, you know, I just thank all the forces and powers, including the revolution, that provided me with the opportunity to walk beside this brother right here.